Hello everyone, my name is Raghavendra K. Mishra. I am working as Assistant Professor in Dr. Ambedkar Institute of Management Studies and Research. Through this video, we will try to understand the concept of leverage. After going through this video, you might be able to solve problems related to financial leverage and understand the concept of financial leverage. So friends, our first question is, what is financial leverage? So financial leverage refers to the percentage of debt in the capital structure. Stated another way, financial leverage is the ratio of operating profit to profit after interest. If a business firm has more borrowed fund as compared to equity, then the firm is said to have high financial leverage. And if any company is having less portion of borrowed fund in its capital structure, then the company is said to be operating in low financial leverage. So first of all, it is important to understand financial leverage basically refers to the percentage of debt portion in the total capital structure. So as you all know, every firm need money to do some business, and for performing its operations, the capital is required. Basically, any company collects capital in the form of either equity or in the form of debt. Equity means whenever any company issues whenever any joint stock company issues shares in the market to raise fund, it is basically equity portion of the capital. And if any company borrows or take loan or either issue debenture in the market in order to raise fund, it is called debt portion of the capital structure. So whenever debt portion is more in the capital structure as compared to the equity portion, we say company is operating at high financial leverage. What is the impact of high debt content in the capital structure can be understood by the given illustration. As you can see here, three different scenarios are given representing different capital structures of a company and the impact of capital structure on the profit before interest and tax of the company and profit after tax of the company, and finally the earning per share which is earned by the shareholders of the company. So as you can see in the first scenario, the total capital of the company is rupees 1 lakh, and company raised this 1 lakh rupees by issuing shares worth rupees 90,000. Company issued 9,000 shares of rupees 100 each to raise 90,000 rupees, and the remaining 10,000 rupees is raised by the company by issuing debentures or by taking loan, and the rate of interest is say 10% per annum. Similarly, in the scenario 2, the company's total capital 1 lakh. Out of this, company raises only rupees 10,000 by issuing shares. Company issued 100 shares at a rate of rupees 100 to raise 10,000 rupees, and the remaining portion, that is 90,000 of rupees 90,000 of the capital, is raised by issuing debentures or taking loans. Here also the rate of interest is 10% per annum. Similarly, in the scenario 3, you can see in order to raise 1 lakh rupees, company issued shares for 50% capital, that is 50,000 is raised by the company through issuing shares of rupees 500 shares of rupees 100 each, and similarly 50,000 rupees raised by the company through issuing debentures. The rate is 10% per annum. So these are the three different situations whereby three different form of capital structures are given to you. Now let us try to understand what impact the debt portion, high debt portion and low equity portion can be there. So as you can see in scenario 1, the profit before tax is rupees 10,000, and in second case say it is rupees 50,000, and say in the third case it is 1 lakh rupees. So when there is a profit before interest and tax or operating profit of 10,000, company has to pay 10% interest on 10,000 rupees, that is 1,000 is the interest. So profit remained for shareholders is rupees 9,000 only. Similarly, in the case 2, where if your profit is 50,000 rupees, then out of this 50,000 operating profit, company needs to pay 1,000 as interest on debentures, and finally the remaining profit for shareholders is rupees 49,000. Similarly, if the profit is 1 lakh rupees, the company needs to pay still 1,000 rupees, and the remaining profit for shareholders is 99,000. So in this case, if we want to calculate the earning per share, it comes rupee 1 in the case when profit is rupees 10,000, whereas it comes rupees 5 rupees 44 paisa when the profit is 50,000, and it comes rupees 11 when the profit is 1 lakh rupees. So this is the scenario 1. Now going ahead to scenario 2, here the debt portion is 90% of the total capital, that is company raises 90,000 by issuing debentures, and only 10% of the capital is contributed by equity. So now suppose if here profit, 3 different cases are there. Say if the profit of the company is rupees 10,000, then company needs to pay only 10% interest on 90,000, that is 90,000. So remaining profit will be 10,000 minus 9,000, that is 1,000 rupees. Similarly, if the profit is 50,000, company still needs to pay 10% of 90,000 as interest, so the profit remain will be 41,000. In the case profit is 1 lakh rupees, company needs to pay 9,000 rupees as interest, so the remaining profit will be 91,000 rupees. So here if we want to calculate earning per share, it comes rupees 10 when the profit is rupees 10,000. It comes to rupees 41 when your operating profit is 50,000, and it comes to rupees 910 if your operating profit is rupees 1 lakh. Similarly, in the scenario 3, what company did, company in order to raise 1 lakh, company issued debentures worth of 50% of the capital, that is company sold debentures for rupees 50,000 at a rate of 10% per annum, whereas the remaining 50,000 is raised by issuing 500 shares at the rate of rupees 100 per share. So here 50% portion of the capital is in the debt form, and the 50% portion of the capital is in equity form. Now suppose if the profit is 10,000 rupees, then company needs to pay 10% of 50,000, that is 5,000 rupees as interest. So the remaining profit will be 5,000 rupees. If the profit is rupees 50,000, company needs to pay 5,000 as interest, so the remaining profit will be rupees 45,000. In the case profit is rupees 1 lakh, company still needs to pay rupees 5,000 as interest, and so the remaining profit will be 95,000. Now here you can see earning per share when the profit, operating profit is 10,000 rupees, is rupees 10, whereas if the profit is 50,000, then the earning per share is rupees 90, and if the profit is rupees 1 lakh, earning per share is rupees 190. So if we compare all the 3 scenarios, you can clearly see the shareholders may earn highest profit when debt portion is highest, that is when company is raising 90% of the total capital using debt component. The shareholders are earning highest profit. On the other hand, if the debt portion is less and equity portion is more, the earning per share will be less. So it is enough to understand what actually the debt component does to the profitability or earning per share of a company. Although in scenario 2 the shareholders are earning highest profit out of these three things, but this situation is highly risky situation. Why? Because you can see here, if the profit is increasing or profit is sufficient enough, it is above the rate of return, then it is well and fine, the people are earning profit. Now suppose if the profit is less than 9,000, say if the PBIT of the company is rupees 8,000, then also the company needs to pay 9,000 rupees interest on the debentures. So company will be in a loss of minus of 1,000 rupees. If sufficient profit is not there, this is a very risky situation. The company may become insolvent. So this is the risk which is involved when high debt portion is there in the capital structure. In this case, the company is not in a risk position. You can see whether there is a profit or not, but company needs to pay only rupees 1,000 as interest on debentures. So suppose if the profit is 5,000, company needs to pay 1,000, still company is in profit situation. So company has surplus 4,000 rupees which is there for disposal. But if in this case, suppose the profit is 5,000 rupees, company is bound to pay rupees 9,000 as interest on debenture. So ultimately company will require to have rupees 4,000 from somewhere in order to pay the interest on debenture. So this is the magic of financial leverage. Now how we can calculate financial leverage. Sorry, there was a spelling mistake. So how can we calculate financial leverage? You can see on the in the slide, marginal cost statement is given. When variable cost is deducted from sales, we get contribution, and when fixed cost is deducted from contribution, we get earning before interest or tax, or profit before interest or tax, or operating profit. When interest is deducted from EBIT or PBIT, we get earning before tax or profit before tax. So this is basically the amount which is available to shareholders for distribution, and the formula for calculating financial leverage is earning before interest and tax divided by EBT. So it is a ratio between earning before interest and tax, that is operating profit, and earning before tax. Interpretation. If any company is operating at very high financial leverage, then we can conclude that it will definitely increase earning per share, but this situation, as we discussed earlier, is very high, very risky situation. It might result in the insolvency of the company. And if the financial leverage is low, although the shareholders are earning less EPS, but this condition is less risky. So that's all about financial leverage. I hope you all understand, and this video might be helpful for you in understanding financial leverage. Thank you very much.